Okay, it is 5:30. We have a quorum present for the Monday, May 16th, 2022 regular meeting of the Norwalk WPCA. The meeting is now called to order. Second item of business is the introduction of Neil Constantine, who is a new member of the board. Welcome, Mr. Constantine. Does anybody have anything to say about Mr. Constantine?
Well, I've known him for a number of years, and I think he'll be a great addition. He's a
Great.
local businessman down the road, so he knows Norwalk well.
Great. Thanks for serving. Mr. Constantine, do you have anything to say?
No, just that I grew up here in town, went through the local schools, and I'm running my family's manufacturing company here in Norwalk, and I'm very pleased to be a part of this.
Very good. Well, welcome aboard. Thanks for serving. Item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes of April 18th. Are there any comments, corrections, additions, anybody would like to report? No.
No.
I think we're ready to call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Ostafine, Bovee, Keegan. Constantine, you're welcome to vote.
Yes.
Constantine and Smith,
I was going to abstain because I wasn't here.
you don't have to, but you can
Okay,
if you want
fine.
to.
I did read them.
Okay, you read it.
Okay.
You're a voting member and you can rely on everybody else. That is unanimous. Thank you. I call for a motion.
No. You did.
Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
By Mr. Bovee. Show of hands very quickly. Thank you. That's unanimous. Sorry about that. Item number 4, authorize the allocation of $300,000 to the DPW for the use of storm sanitary sewer separation project being administered by the DPW under the September 8th agreement between the City of Norwalk and Emrandano Inc. for on-call drainage improvements at various locations. Is there a motion to approve that? By Mrs. Smith. Is there any comments from staff?
Yes,
Presentation.
Mr. Chair and members, the board had previously approved similar requests of $300,000. Rondano and DPW since the beginning of this year have basically spent everything that's been previously approved. But we did have success. We had 9 catch basins from all that work that was completed, disconnected from the sanitary sewer. We have approximately 80 catch basins prior to this. So removing 9 from the system, 8, when I say 80 catch basins, 80 City of Norwalk catch basins, just to clarify, they're on the street, known to be connected to the sanitary sewer. We disconnected 9 of them. So it's been a very successful program. We're looking to continue working with DPW and Rondano as the city paves roads and does drainage improvements to continue to separate catch basins, which help reduce flow to the collection system, pump stations, and treatment plant during wet weather.
Is that what they were doing at Trolleyway and Martin Luther King? There's a station there.
That pump station is being rehabilitated by Kovacs Construction as a pump station WPCA project.
I'm thinking Ohio Avenue.
Yes, Plymouth, Ohio, and then I think Dover. There's a single catch basin off Dover. So since we had such success, we'd like to continue the process.
Any further questions of staff?
Nope.
Everybody ready? Okay. Motion by Ms. Smith. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Ostafine, Bovee, Keegan, Constantine, Smith. Unanimous. It's 5:34. We're done with the business. Item number 5, contract operations report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everybody. And welcome, Mr. Constantine. My name is John Marson. I am the project manager for Veolia, the company that operates the wastewater plant. And Matt Brown, our assistant manager, is also on the call tonight. So welcome to the board, and we're looking forward to working with you.
Great, thank you.
I had a very productive month. We did have a significant storm event that impacted the facility on April 19th, which did create some problems for us. We did not get to the storm flow level of 30 MGD, but we quickly spiked to just over 29 MGD. And the total flow for the day was about 22 MGD. So during that event, we did have some solids carryover, and we did result in a daily exceedance for TSS and BOD. But it was only a daily exceedance. Our monthly averages were within our permit limits, and all of our bacteria testing for that day during that rain event was also within the permit requirements. So like every rain event, we evaluate what happened very carefully. Ralph, Matt, and I have been studying this along with Chris, Torrey, and Anthony, and we're working on ways to further protect us in the future so that if we have a storm of this nature, we won't have an exceedance in the future. But the plant did recover very quickly, and we will way back within permit the next day. We also had some interesting progress on our collection system work. And if I could, Delene, I'd like to share my screen and talk a little bit about a new technology that we brought to Norwalk this month in drone technology in our sewer lines. So we're going to try to show you some videos. I won't make it too long, but we've been working and we practiced a few times, so hopefully things will go well. So I'm going to go ahead and share. I think you can everyone see a gentleman with a yellow vest kneeling on a floor?
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we're going to show you 3 separate videos. One is just a quick one to show you what the drone looks like in the garage. The second one is a picture of the drone entering the manhole. And then the last video will be one of the actual video camera on the drone going through our sewer line. And I also just want to show you quickly where we are talking about. So you should now be able to see a map of the city of Norwalk.
Mhm.
All right, you can see this is the river going down the middle, and these 2 red lines are 2 large 60-inch interceptors that run parallel along the edge of the river. They're very hard to access, and they're very large and always have flow in them. So the area that we wanted to look at specifically is the area on the north side of the river. And this is up towards the medical center on where East Ave is, and then Wall Street is just north of here. So this is the area that we're looking at. And as you can see, there's a lot of difficult places to access. So it was a perfect place to use the drone technology. So the first video we're going to show you, this is the drone itself. So that's 2 of our technicians from our Holyoke, Massachusetts project. They specialize in the drone operation. So that's one of the entering the manhole. And last but not least, this is the video from the drone camera itself entering the hole. I'll only do about 45 seconds of this for you. There's no sound on the drone video. Can everyone see that?
Nice. Yes.
Okay, great. So the drone's entering down into the hole now. This is a 60-inch line that's flowing under this manhole. The sensor you see on the left is the transmitter that transmits to the drone. And once the drone starts to get out a signal of that transmitter, it will turn around and return. You can see it's obviously a circular pipe. We've got some bends here. But just from quick observation, pipe is in excellent condition. No major cracks, no major sources of infiltration. You can notice though that this pipe has been flooded. There's signs of paper and debris on the top of the pipe, which would indicate that this pipe has been full at one point. We're going to skip ahead here. And what the drone did in this case is it went up the pipe, it turned around, and now it's coming back manhole. And it comes back to its sensor. And it'll travel back up our pipe, up the manhole, where our GIS technician, Ahmed, is thankfully receiving it back in one piece. Okay.
Mrs. Smith,
Yeah, that's awesome. And a game changer. Again, I know, Ralph, you've been so excited about this, and I can see why. I mean, it's a game changer for maintenance. I have two questions.
Yeah.
One, what was the cost to the city for this technology? And the other question I have is, how far can you take it through the pipes before you have to turn it around and bring it back?
So to answer your first question, there was no cost to the city. This is equipment that Suez had purchased, or Veolia had purchased as part of our Holyoke project, and it's something that we can make available to our regional projects. The length is, I think it was probably, Matt, and maybe you can jump in, but I think you were close to 300 to 400 feet before, depending on the number of bends. That was a factor too. But that was about as far as we could get. But that was enough to get most of the areas, because typically manholes are 300 to 500 feet apart. And so if you can get it from both sides, we're able to get the entire pipe.
It typically does 600 feet on a charge, John. So what they do is they do 40% out, 40% back, and they always want to save 20% in case there's an oops or something, so they can get it out of the hole.
Right.
Understood.
Yeah, so some interesting stuff. And in fact, Brown and Caldwell, the engineer that's doing the modeling and the work for the collection system, has asked that they could use some of that video and share it, maybe as part of a presentation at a conference at some point in the future. So we'll let everybody know. But we officially have run a drone through our sewer pipe. So you're on the map. Congratulations.
Good news.
Great.
Thank you.
Hey, John, I'd like to add one more thing. Your team actually offered to send the drone down a storm pipe, a larger storm diameter pipe. And I'm working with the operations crew to figure out which culvert or pipe, maybe we get some examples. So just want to share that with everybody here.
Absolutely. Great. So we'll share more with that. And if anyone's would like to see more of it, we've got a lot more video. We just wanted to give you a little taste of it today. But pretty neat technology. Along those lines, we have finally finished the plan for the Orchard Ave sewer improvements. So we did our final walkthrough actually with our contractor last week. And we're just in the process now of scheduling that work and getting ready to get it started. That, as we've been talking about, that is a particularly complicated lining job. The bypass pumping and arrangements for temporary services was actually a bigger part of the job than the lining itself. But we've got all the pieces together and we're excited to get that into the schedule. Two other items just to give the group an update on the sludge blend tank rehabilitation. We have received our final engineering work plan from our metal specialists. So they are put together a plan that will be able to have one of our subcontractors begin the repairs on that. And then our septic storage tank improvement instrumentation and controls project, we have our Scada subcontractor, Aaron Associates, who's been contracted to complete that work. And we just need to get them mobilized and get those pieces connected, and that job will be running as well. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
No questions.
Well, thank you.
Ralph? Thanks,
Great.
Mr. Marcin.
We'll move along to reports. Item 6A in the agenda is the fiscal year 21-22 Munis report. This is run out of the city's Munis system, and we present it each month. If there's any information or any questions on either the expenditure or revenue side, please feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll continue to move on to the next item. Item 6B, Connecticut Deep's administrative order on consent. There's a copy enclosed. It's been executed by both parties. The mayor signed it for the city of Norwalk, and Deep has also signed it. Basically, the consent order is going to require the city to submit its collection system master plan update by September 30th of this year, and also then a facility plan update by June 30th of 2023. In addition to that, the consent order is focused on infiltration reduction, which the WPCA has been and will continue to do. And we're looking at potential options with the Ann Street emergency overflow, if there's a way we can reduce or actually eliminate that outfall location. So that's all part of the consent order. Any questions?
I missed the date. Master plan is when?
The collection system master plan is due September 30th of this year, 2022.
Thank you.
And then the facility plan update is due June 30th of 2023.
Yeah. So what you just said about Ann Street, it didn't sound like we have to shut that down. I thought that was the big thing.
It's the goal of the department is to close it completely, but we're going to let the collection system master plan and the engineers report evaluate how that can be physically done. It might be where we have a gate or some other structure that is closed, but if we do need to open it for emergency reasons, there's something that we can cut similar to like an electric box, where there's basically a clamp around it, and if I guess temporal resistant. So if anybody needs to get in, you just cut that clamp or the cable and
Got it.
open up the gate.
There was no hard deadline. That's going to come out of the facilities plan or the master plan.
Correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? All right, I'm going to give a quick update on all our WPCA projects. We continue to have COVID effects, specifically with delays of material, piping. It's, every time when we think we have a schedule of when equipment or material components are going to be delivered, we hear back that, oh, it's another 1 month or 2 months. In January, we put in for one of our generators for the pump stations, and we were told originally 48 weeks, and now we're looking at probably early January of 2023. So wow. It's a little bit over a year. It's, there's not much we can do, or our contractors. It's just, it's all related to the shipping, supply and demand. But that being said, item 1, collection system master planning. This is with Brown and Caldwell as our consultant. The hydraulic model that we conducted flow monitoring last year, the model calibration is completed. What the team is now looking at is future projects, capital projects to help reduce I&I, the impact on Ann Street siphon overflow, outfall 002 at the wastewater treatment plant. So that's what we're looking at is throughout the 40 sewer sheds, where do we see the most inflow? Where do we see the most infiltration? And just to start developing projects with all this information, long-term projects. Item 2, collection system, sanitary sewer system rehab, various locations. This is a contract that we've had now since 2018 with Green Mountain Pipeline Services. Last week, we lined, I think it was an 8 or 12 inch, actually scratch that, 12 to 15 inch adjacent to Oyster Shell Park. So it was an area where DPW engineering is actually going to try to stabilize the stream bank because due to erosion from either Tropical Storm Elsa, Ida. So what we went ahead and we lined our infrastructure to prevent any premature failing. So we lined approximately 400 feet of pipe. We're also, last week, we conducted some lining on Connecticut Avenue at night. We're actually going to be lining this week as well on Connecticut Avenue. So with that project, it's at the end, it's almost about $6 million project that we're coming to an end with. And it's just punch list items that we're trying to get the team to come in and finish lining or installing. On Seaview Avenue, we got to still install a manhole and then come through and do a final liner there right by Seaview and Betts Place. But the items are very minimal at this point. It's just the punch list items. Item 3, Wall Street to Ninth Street relocation improvements. This is where currently we have a 30-inch oval sanitary sewer line going underneath the building at 2 Ninth Street. And what we're doing is we're relocating that from underneath the building and going through a new chamber in order to pass through a large storm culvert that's 112 by 77 inches oval shape. So that work is ongoing. If you drive by the site, go at 2 Ninth Street, you'll see an area that's got Jersey barriers. It's got fencing and then screening. We're working with the management team there and all the residents to minimize impact, but it is a right now it's a big project. This is over a $2 million project. We're working on the geotech right now. They're putting in wells in order 20 some feet down in order to redirect groundwater. So when we do start to excavate and put in micro piles and then pour concrete for this new structure, we're not going to have a problem with the geotech. So that work is ongoing. Item 4, like I mentioned earlier, Kovacs Construction is rehabilitating 4 pump stations. Each of the pump stations, we're doing what we can. For example, we've installed bypass connections at all the stations. The team's trying to do whatever piping or electrical work or HVAC that they can do. But delays due to shipping delays is really slowing that project down. Where we anticipate originally being completed by the end of summer, we're now looking in work is going to continue into next year. So at a high level, we're just trying to work with the contractor to know, okay, what months are you going to be on site at what stations? So next item, pump station, Bell Island pump station improvements. We engaged Kovacs to install a bypass chamber with connection and valves. Once that work is completed, there's a purchase order right now for the concrete chamber, the precast. So once that comes in and installed, the Veolia team then will set up a bypass and begin to replace and update the pumps and the valves at the pump station. We're just trying to reduce any potential risk by replacing pumps, rehabbing pumps, and replacing aging valves. Item 6, wastewater treatment plant, aeration tanks, electrical infrastructure improvements. Kovacs Construction was awarded this contract earlier this year. It's a little over $1 million. And what this is doing is along the aeration tanks, all the electrical is below the grading. It's in standing water. It's over the years, we've had short circuiting. different electrical problems, and the conduit is no longer be expensive to replace it in where it is. So what we did the team elected to move everything above. So it's all going to be above when you're on a truss system. So we'll have both high voltage and low voltage for all the pumps, motors, electrical devices, monitoring devices. So it's all going to be on a truss system overhead, that when you're walking down, the trusses are on either side of you, but all the electrical will be above at least 7 feet above everybody's head. Last item, Scada upgrade phase 3. This has been going well with Aaron Associates. There's since the 90s, the treatment plant has had Scada, but when it was first installed, some of the components, the non-critical components, were not part of the Scada system, and some of the other equipment was just monitor only. So this has been a 2 or 3 year project. It's been ongoing, and we've done the bulk of the work. We're down to the last like 15, 16 items, punch list items, but we're trying to get, for example, filtrate wet well, the water pumps, plant water pumps. We're trying to get all those systems now onto Scada, so we have monitoring and alarms that we know what's happening, what the levels are. And some of the reason why this wasn't done in the 90s is a little bit more challenging, but we have a good team. Technology's changed a lot, and we do have a path forward. It's just making sure the equipment comes in, backlog of 3 to 4 months for a level sensor, pressure transducer. So same kind of shipping delays. But as equipment comes in, we're trying to get those one item at a time off the list. Does anybody have any questions with any of the ongoing projects? And these are the large capital projects that the WPCA is doing. It does not include the day-to-day stuff that both Veolia and WPCA are working on. It's just that we're always working behind the scenes. These are the more high level, big picture items that we like to keep the board up to date with. All right, moving on to 6D1. Appeals adjustments to date is $183,467. WPCA staff is currently getting ready for fiscal year 22-23 billing. We're about 17.8, 17.9 million that we're QA/QCing. That data needs to get to the tax collector's office by Memorial Day weekend, so they can incorporate that onto the tax bill, run some drafts, see if there's any glitches or problems on their end. And then typically in June, they send the final electronic file to print. So that's where we are with the sewer billing. And then information copies, draft nitrogen credit exchange is included in the board package. And Norwalk continues to do really good against the other municipalities in Connecticut, and we're 4th. Receiving nitrogen credits, and we're just below 85,000, 84 and some change this year. So like I said, Norwalk is still the team's doing an excellent job. It's getting more competitive. The credits aren't as much because all the various treatment plants have done nitrogen projects to improve nitrogen removal. So it's getting harder to compete. And that's why the credits continue to drop long term. It's supposed to be a self-sustaining program. So those municipalities decide not to do improvements. Well, they pay for the credits that like Norwalk receive. And then the last item is the Wilton sewer bill is included, and that went out, and it's a total of 567,000 and some change.
Anybody have any questions on anything that was contained here or not here? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Bovee takes over from Mr. Flynn. All in favor? Mr. Fine, Bovee, Constantine, Smith. Mr. Camacho?
Yes, I
Hi
agree.
there.
Yeah,
Hi there. Thank you. That's unanimous. Thanks. When's our next meeting, Ralph?
It's going to be
June
Tuesday. June 21st,
Oh,
because
the
June
21st.
20th is a holiday for June 19th celebration.
June 21st, next meeting.
That's correct.
I guess you could stop recording if you want, Daleen.
Okay, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank
Nice to
you.
see you
Thank
all.
you.
Everyone,
Thank you,
stay
everyone.